What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show here on a double victory Monday live on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channels. Guys, do yourself a favor, do us a favor, the same way we start each and every one of our shows. Make sure to follow on across all social media platforms. Check out the link tree in our bio on our Twitter page. It will take you directly to the DSM Philadelphia YouTube channel. It is the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up. Like my man D-Rab, if you want to be active with us throughout the show, get your thoughts on the Sixers and Eagles wins. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, like this video, do whatever you got to do. I'm one half of your host, Dylan Davis. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty, on the road today. Eagles 37, Bengals 17. Jalen Hurts with not only his best game of the season, man, probably his best game of the last year and a half or close to it. He was unbelievable yesterday afternoon. We're going to break down this game, give you guys our instant takeaways and reactions. And the Sixers, after an ugly 0-2 start, losing in Toronto against the shorthanded Raptors on Friday night, win the game they're probably not supposed to in overtime yesterday. Tyrese Maxey goes for 45 after another slow start in the first half. They take down the Pacers 118-114, and they come home to take on the Detroit Pistons this Wednesday in what could be the return of Joel Embiid and the debut of Paul George. So a lot of excitement around here, man. I saw a report this morning that from Bob Nightingale that the Phillies are going to heavily pursue Juan Soto. I know I can't get too excited about the Phillies right now, and nor do they deserve any of my attention or excitement at the moment. But feed me all the Juan Soto rumors early on in the before the year starts, man, in the offseason. What is going on, brother?
Not much, man. On the road, got a little different setup today, so I feel a little awkward, but we'll be fine. We're gonna get it in. Along with everything you said, man, just a little bit of Duke news because I know everybody cares out there. I don't know if you saw that score last night from that exhibition game between Duke and Arizona State.
And Arizona State.
Brother. I don't even know if Arizona is a real state at this point after that game because, man, it was like 104 to 40 something, man. They put the wood to these boys last night. But no, I'm not trying to steer the direction away from the Philadelphia success yesterday, man. It was a fun ass Sunday. Felt really good to see the way the Eagles played. Went into the Sixers game with more than low expectations. I expected to lose. And it's always a great surprise when that happens. Funny how that works out, though, right? Pick the Sixers to win in Milwaukee, or not in Milwaukee, in Philadelphia versus Milwaukee. Then they lose, obviously, to Milwaukee on opening night. And then I picked them. We picked them against the Raptors on Friday night. That's not good enough, right? The depleted Raptors. Yeah. But no, they go on the road to Indiana, beat the Indiana Pacers, who played the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
Correct. So, we're one of the Final Four teams last year.
Go on the road and beat them. Tyrese Maxey has more than a bounce back game. I mean, he was having a bad game in the game.
2 for 11 to start, brother.
Game.
Yeah.
So great vibes coming into this Monday, man. I couldn't be happier. Had like a 39-minute flight from Philly to Richmond. How like
you must be that jet lag must be going crazy right now, dude.
Yeah, it was the shortest flight I've ever been on in my life.
That's awesome.
I mean, I'm taking longer trips to your crib from my crib in Philly to New Jersey. No, but I'm feeling good, brother. Happy Victory Monday. Can't say more than that without getting directly into what we're going to talk about.
Correct. And the Sixers wheels are starting to spin. We're going to start with the Eagles. Don't worry. But to your point, like we'll talk about it. But they start 0-1 against the Bucks. We were hoping they could win. They shouldn't have won. Like if you're Giannis, if you're Dame, you can't lose to the Sixers without Paul George and Joel Embiid, right? So they lose a game that they rightfully were probably supposed to lose on opening night. And then they had 2 games over the weekend. And if they came out 1-1, you and I would have been fine with it and thought it went the other way, right? We would have said, all right, well, they beat up on the Raptors. They lose to Indiana, which they're probably supposed to. That reverses. And what was an awful Friday night, man. Like we were going to come on here and have some issues with this team just 3 games in if they started 0-3, not because they're 0-3, but because of Friday night's game specifically. That was totally inexcusable, I thought. And now it's kind of excusable because you won the game that you weren't supposed to. So it balances out. Hopefully, Joel and PG make their debuts for the season on Wednesday. And we're going to talk about all of that later on in the show. But we have to, man. We have to start with the 5-2 Philadelphia Eagles 37-17 victory in Cincy over Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the Bengals. This game had so many positives on both sides of the ball. It started ugly. It started very ugly when the defense can't get off the field on third down and the Bengals chew up 10-plus minutes in the opening drive of the game. But the defense settled in. They created turnovers. They got to Joe a little bit down the stretch. But it starts and ends with this man, Jalen Hurts. Saquon went over 100. Smitty was great. AJ had moments. Calcaterra had moments. It starts and ends with Jalen Hurts, man. It is the smoothest. It was the most confident. It was the cleanest. I know he's had 3 straight clean games now with no turnovers, no interceptions. They're 3-0 now doing so. But it was the most confident and just I was texting you even in the first half when they were down. What were we down? 10-3 at that point, 10, whatever it was. And I'm like, man, Jalen looks good. Jalen looks crisp. He's delivering the ball. He's using going to the boundary to get AJ and Smitty involved. He's using his legs a little bit early on. And then it just started to develop. Jalen Hurts had his best game. We go back to the Buffalo game, man, and I don't have the numbers. Maybe he was just that lights out in Buffalo. But it almost feels like this game was better. I don't know if it was more important because we're in a new year now. I don't know. But this is the best game I've seen Jalen Hurts play in quite some time. I tip my cap to him, and I got to tip my cap to Kellen Moore, man, because it's almost like, wow, another new OC, another new playbook, injuries to start the year, and now everything's starting to click. They're lining Jalen up under center more. They're running from under center. Second straight week of using a linebacker at a fullback position and getting success with it. Pre-snap motion. That play to Smitty, bro, that touchdown, great throw, great catch. But just the overall design, the play action bootleg from under center, looks like he's going to bail out, plants his feet, and just delivers a strike to the back of the end zone. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful to watch on Sunday, man.
No, absolutely, man. You can't say enough about Jalen Hurts' performance. And you hit on something because at the beginning of the game, it was very frustrating. It's very similar to a lot of other bad games, bad output type of games. And you mentioned the 10-minute drive from the Bengals at the beginning of the game. That was demoralizing. So many third downs that you just can't even stomach. Some of these third downs that were happening in that first half. Mike Gesicki, come on, brother. I mean, come on, man. Like, that's bullshit. He's out here making one-handed catches, toe dragging on the sideline.
Yeah.
Like, it was really disgusting business. But then the Eagles turned it on right towards the end of the half. The defense got a huge stop near midfield. We're able to get the ball back for the Eagles offense. Because there were several opportunities, as bad as that Eagles defense was at the beginning. Mm-hmm. They were only giving up threes, and after the 7, right? You only gave up 3 after the 7, and then I think you gave up.
They gave up 1.
No, it was just 10 at half. It was 10 at half. So you gave up 1 more 3 on the next drive, and after that they held tight, even while the offense continued to struggle a little bit there, just until the offense could get going. And to be clear, this first quarter non-scoring, this was not on the offense.
No. I saw some tweets, and I'm sure some of them were sarcastic, but they did score on their first drive. They went down and got points on their first drive. It's not their fault that they didn't get the ball until the 4-minute and 50-second mark of the entire first quarter. So 1,000%, yes, you're going to look at the box score and you're going to see a 0 right next to it, man. Yeah. But does that make it even more? They scored 37 without basically having the ball for a quarter of the game.
The first quarter, yeah.
That's crazy.
Literally.
I just want to pick. I saw the jab, brother. You got to give credit where credit's due today, though. I just want to piggyback off of what you said about the defense, because don't get me wrong, man, it's frustrating. And that first drive is inexcusable. The 3rd and 22 to Gesicki is disgusting work. They had 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 9s, just cannot get off of the football field. It's gross to watch, but it just makes you wonder, right? Especially with the adjustments that Fangio is able to make at times throughout this year. With this offense, if this offense is at its peak, if this offense continues to look like it did yesterday or even close to that, is this just what you need from the other side of the ball? That bend but don't, like, it's frustrating as hell, man. But if they continue to just give up threes, you're always going to be in a ball game with this offense.
Yeah, and it's funny you say continue to only give up threes, because that's where I was getting the 12 from in my head. I thought 2 more field something that, getting up over 10 points.
Yeah.
It was the Commanders game yesterday where there was 4 Commanders field goals to make 12 points to 0. So that's where I was getting that idea from. But similar idea is the Bears stopping the Commanders nonstop in the red zone. They were letting them get down the field and they weren't letting them score touchdowns. That is how some games against the better teams are going to have to be. We're going to have to hope the defense can just hold them down in the red zone. But in this game, man, on that 3rd and 22 specifically, the play right before that, Cooper DeJean drops an interception from Joe Burrow. Yeah. And it's those little things where we don't even have to say bend but don't break.
Yeah.
You just make that play. Yeah. We don't even see that.
When you don't make them pay, bad things tend to happen in all sports, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of those examples where you're just going to get karmically burned the very next snap.
But I do think, and I said this to my boys this morning in our little Eagles chat, man, because there was some judgments on Fangio still, and people still don't like the bend but don't break.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Make adjustments in this game though, like Cooper DeJean in the 4th quarter making that play isn't making that play 10 yards off the ball. He's up on the line and he's following Chase all over the formation. So it's exactly what we want to see. I think that Fangio is making adjustments according to the skill sets and the playmaking ability that he has available to him on the field. Slay goes off the field, you start to see a little bit more press coverage. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses for Fangio. I just did see some different things in the second half that isn't typical with his scheme, I feel.
Yeah, no. We're not going down that route again, brother. I agree. And by the way, Cooper DeJean, dude, dog. Absolute, Quinyon Mitchell, dog. Cooper DeJean, dog. The tip drill from Rodgers to CGJ, dog. And that's just it, man. We're what? We're 7 games into this thing with both new coordinators. There's been injuries on both sides of the ball. DeJean specifically can't really start the year because he's put behind the 8 ball from that training camp injury. And it's like, all right, maybe it just takes some time for these new coordinators to figure things out with new talent and rookies, etc. And maybe you're just starting to see it. And they're 5-2 like this. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm getting too excited and bought back in on this team. But you have the Jacksonville Jaguars coming to town in 6 days. That is a game that you are supposed to go win. You take care of business. You are 6-2 at that point in the season. I'm not, again, we're going to take it throughout the week and celebrate this victory today. But it's just they're hitting stride, man. They're doing different things. You mentioned the adjustments from Fangio. Same thing week to week. It's what we're asking for, though, right? Like we talked about it. You got your ass kicked. You had a bye week. You got healthy. You had an ugly win. You had a good win. Now you have a great win. But over the last 2 weeks, man, in this Kellen Moore offense, you're seeing more and more wrinkles added in. I don't know the overall snap count that he was under center yesterday, but Jalen was under center a decent amount yesterday, and it's opening up so much more for this offense, dude. Again, the play action bootleg is going to be huge, especially with his mobility. That's another thing that we have to talk about with Jalen Hurts. He looked a little bit more like 2022 Jalen in the legs. That second touchdown, I believe, the boot to the right where he got the burst. It was like the 8-yarder. I mean, that burst looked like 2022 Jalen Hurts. And that's another dynamic piece of this offense and to his game overall that is going to be useful when it comes to Kellen Moore and utilizing this talent, man.
Yeah.
I am over the moon happy and excited about what we witnessed yesterday. Like, we just wanted to win. Like, go win this game. It's Joe Burrow. It's Jamar Chase on the road. Find a way to get the job done. They didn't just do that, Scotty. They absolutely walked in there and fucking thumped the Bengals in their house. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. And I think ever since we came out of the bye week, you're just seeing more and more Kellen Moore offense being implemented. You're seeing more and
Yep.
more motion, different formations, different things. Different skill set players in the offense. Right, we're looking at Ben Van Sumeren in at fullback, getting blocks in. They're trying different things, and you can tell that it's Kellen Moore. And the other side of it is Jalen Hurts. It just took him a little bit again to get settled in with his new offensive coordinator. Like, I do think when you look back on the first part of this season, man, it's not even that we should be asking ourselves if we are bought back in. It's should we have ever been out? Like, why were we ever out? Because Smitty and AJ didn't play in Tampa Bay along with Lane Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, we have to take ourselves out of the moment sometimes and really think back and put things in perspective. And always hindsight is 2020. The way they performed the last 3 weeks, now we can sit back and look and be like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have been, so down about the rough start to the season. Because at the end of the day, you were sitting at a winning record. But the last 3 weeks, Jalen Hurts, the offense, everything is starting to come together. It's looked better each and every week going forward. And I expect it to only get better, man. This game, we got to see Smitty get heavily involved. You still got some AJ mixed in there. Grant Calcaterra getting involved in the pass game through the middle. There's a lot of stuff being added right now, and I'm just excited to see more and more of it. But Jalen Hurts, man, like come on. Yeah, you talked about his legs, right? Because he had 3 touchdowns yesterday, and they weren't all of the tush push variety, like you mentioned. He did get out on the outside, got around the corner, and was able to get in the end zone. And honestly, man, there's been quite a few times this season where I feel like Jalen has really had like his legs back, like that Atlanta game, right?
Yeah.
That game, he was running the ball really
Yeah.
well in that game, and then we get to like Tampa, and it's like I don't know. Tampa's just a different defense. It's a different matchup, and you didn't have all your dogs that
You
day,
didn't have
so it's going to
anybody.
look a little
You
different.
really didn't, man.
So yeah, I think Jalen, you're getting healthiness, right? The healthy legs. You're getting that mixed in with getting comfortable with Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore getting comfortable as a play caller, and this is what we're starting to see right now. But once again, I know we gave credit to him earlier. The defense, man, the defense is stepping up in big moments. They're making big plays, and we're starting to see the turnovers now. We're starting to see those come into effect. So when your defense starts getting turnovers, your offense is well balanced. You're moving the ball however you really want to, right, through the ground, through the air. That's when you know that you're rolling. At the end of the day, this Bengals team is not some slouch. I get it; they're 3-5. They played the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Eagles so far this season, right? They have a little bit of an excuse to have the record that they have. They played some tough comp. And we did what we were supposed to and more, like you said.
Yeah.
Beyond excited about this. But I guess I'll ask you this, man. What were, if any, detractors out of this game for you? Were there any negatives?
I don't know. I can't. I mean, if you outside of the first drive for Cincinnati being incredibly frustrating, what overall frustrated me in this ball game? Nothing. Like that they created turnovers on defense. They made open field tackles. What are you going to say? That more sat. I don't know. Like after that first drive, and it was 7 of their 17 points. Fangio and the defense adjusted, and the offense scored on every drive except the second drive. Do people realize that they went field goal, punt, touchdown, 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 field goal, touchdown, field goal in this game? So I don't know. I mean, maybe there's individuals. I saw there was a Jordan Davis comment. Maybe
Reed Blank and shit.
Yeah, maybe, dude. But
I thought Reed was pretty bad against Mike Gesicki. Like, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on.
Especially
Every time I saw that
know,
dude catching the ball, Reed Blankenship is running behind him,
especially
basically pushing him out of
because you
bounds.
called it out like in the pregame show, like don't let Mike Gesicki, like no T Higgins, like whatever. And then literally on the first drive and second
Of
drive, Mike
course.
Gesicki's making play after play. It's fucking nauseating. But the reason I had my head turned when you asked me that question is I just wanted to make sure I was correct, and I went through. And the thing I think you're starting to see, I wanted to talk about the balance on offense. Jalen threw the ball 20 times. Saquon carried it 22. Jalen, 10 or so with a couple tush pushes. Gainwell a few. Very, very, very well balanced in this game. And the reason I bring that up is because we talk about him being under center and the play action and the bootlegs. And it's like I wanted to see if my memory served correct because I feel like they really set up the pass off the run in this game. The Eagles started every drive except one with running the ball. And the only drive that they punted in, they went pass, 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 tush push, and then punted after the next set of plays. Pass, pass, pass. That's the only drive they punted on. Every other drive started with a Saquon Barkley handoff, and multiple drives started with back-to-back Saquon handoffs, a Saquon handoff, a Jalen run, a Saquon handoff, a Saquon handoff. That's how they built off of this game, and that's what we asked for. Consistency in your identity. We're learning about it over the last 3 weeks. We're seeing more Saquon being featured. We're seeing more snaps from under center, and that's what happened. They scored on every drive except for one, and on every single one of those possessions, they ran the ball early and often in those possessions.
Yeah, and it's exactly what they should have done. I mean, this is ultimately what we've been waiting for, the 30 points, right? You were approaching 40 in this one. This is the second time this season that they've done that, including the Green Bay game. And this is when we're seeing the offense moving in full balance, right? I don't know why it is so hard for them to see that running the football is the key to the offense, is the identity of the Birds.
Right. And
when you
maybe
have
they're
a
not
running back
anymore.
like Saquon. I don't know why it was so hard to see it first, especially when you don't have Smitty or an AJ in the lineup. But they figured it out. I think Sirianni, I think Kellen Moore, they know what's going on now, and we're finally getting to see the results of it. But you look at the Bengals, man. Like it's not that this was some record-breaking happening. Like the Bengals don't have a great defense, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it's not a good feat because it's a great win. It's a great dominating win. It's great for your offense to do what they did. But what I'm trying to say is this is what is supposed to happen. Like this wasn't like a great day for the Eagles offense. This is the Eagles offense. And this is what I want to see week to week, man. It is not that complicated for Jalen Hurts to play clean, smart, efficient football. It's not that complicated for the head coaching staff to follow trends of what works for the offense, including I formation, Jalen under center, running the football with Saquon Barkley. It's not that hard to see that you can do slants with Smitty to the inside on the middle of the field, and you can hit him for third down conversions. Like these are all things that should have been happening already. Nonetheless, I'm happy that they're here, and I'm happy that we got it figured out by now and at this point, because we're going to have some big matchups coming up, some very important matchups, not the Jags, but the Cowboys, the Commanders, so on and so forth. And those are games you got to win. You can have all this great record and whatnot all you want, but if you don't beat those teams that are direct competition to you to get ahead of them, it doesn't mean much. So they're coming into form, man. But Jalen Hurts, by far my biggest takeaway from this game is that I trust Jalen Hurts again. Like the trust was a little, it wasn't gone. It was just a little off. Leaving last
agree,
season,
man.
in the first part of this season, the trust was a little off. It's why we did, jump the gun at the beginning of the season, even at 3-2 or 4-2, whatever the record was at the time. He's earned my trust back with performances
1,000%.
the last 3 weeks, the way he's played. I thought the week before was good against the Giants, right? It was clean, no turnovers. He did what he was asked to. This week, he was the difference. Like, Smitty made a play right in the end zone. Smitty made several plays. AJ made several plays. Saquon did. Grant Calcaterra. But Jalen
Yep.
was the focal point. He was the MVP in this game. And it's not because of the touchdowns either, man. Like, you can give Saquon one. I do get why they give him the tush. I get it. You know, I
Yeah.
do get it because it's an efficiency thing at the end of the day. It's what works every single time. So you're going to do it. But damn, Saquon, can he just get one touch
I know.
in the 5-yard
Yeah.
line, bro?
But
I mean,
Saquon seems like such a good dude and such a good
he's a
teammate. We
good
heard the
guy.
clip of him saying, "Nah, run it again" 2 weeks ago. So it's like he doesn't really care. But
I wonder if he has like a touchdown bonus or anything in there because that would like
yeah,
piss me off if it
yeah,
happens too much.
yeah.
But
No,
nah, it is what it is.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, man. Again, look, everybody made plays. AJ was good. Smitty was great. Saquon was very good. Went for over 100 again. But it starts and ends with Jalen. And you're talking about, again, like missing your left tackle and missing your right
Yeah,
guard versus a guy like Trey Hendrickson and that pass rush for Cincinnati. And they were able, again, and that's more schematically with Kellen Moore as well, able to schematically kind of utilize that against them, right? All those play action bootlegs, everything.
yeah,
But he was so good. And you brought up the confidence thing, how he's gained your trust back. And I think he should have everybody's trust back for the time being. Because
yeah,
there was a time, man, when you're watching at home and you can't really see what's developing downfield. You can't see what Jalen sees. You just see the drop back and you see the ball being delivered
yeah.
somewhere. And I go back to the Saints game when he threw the interception in the end zone. There was such a lack of confidence that we came on here, me, you, Marsh, and everyone said, you just knew when that ball left his hand, something bad was going to happen. It was so far the other direction. It was so far gone bad with Jalen and his confidence and Reed. And now it's the complete other direction. Every time he planted his back foot, dude, and delivered, I was just confident in where it was going. He utilized the middle of the field. He utilized the
The
boundaries.
timing.
He got the ball out quickly, 1,000%. He made a throw to AJ Brown on like third and long on the other side of the field. It was in Cincinnati territory, but I don't know if you remember this. It was almost like inside a zone of a triple bracket coverage, and AJ just kind of sat down right at the sticks and like bent his knees, and Saquon and Jalen just delivered one right to his gut. I don't know if you recall what I'm talking about. It was like 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16.
Yeah, third
It
and 16.
it was a terrific fucking throw. And he made multiple of them yesterday afternoon, man. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just a confidence level when it comes to Jalen now. And just again, because I think he understands it now. And I think what we were concerned about is that the guys in charge, our coaches, our play callers, aren't getting it. Like, how are they the ones
They're
not
idiots.
getting it? There's a confidence now that they understand they can rely on other guys. They can be balanced. They can do a lot of other things.
You brought something to mind, man, and it's a great thing that he's at the back of the mind. But Nick Sirianni, where are we? 1 through 10, like 10 being like, love this guy as our head coach.
No.
1 or 0 being
right.
Get
him
out
of here.
Fired.
Yeah.
Like, where are we at?
I mean, ever since that debacle with the fans after the Browns game, so really over the last 8 days, right? Because that lasted until we beat the Giants. Like, you're not going to get that Sirianni moment out of your head until you go and handle business against the Giants.
Yeah.
So they did that 8 days ago. So over the last 8 days, I don't know, a 4, like only because like, I'm fine. Like, I have no issues with Nick Sirianni over the last 2 weeks at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the two, like, we thought he could be gone after last season. You get all the issues now. We're calling for his head. Even when they're winning games, we're calling for his head because he's been terrible in New Orleans, etc. Atlanta. Yeah. So 2-3 wins. I'm not just going to sit here and be like, I'm at an 8 with Nick Sirianni. Bring him back. But I have no issues with what Nick Sirianni's done over the last 2 wins. So he is fine right now. He's off the radar. Like, to your point, like. That's fine here in Philadelphia for the time. Like, he's not on our minds. He's not a distraction. He's not a negative. I was going to kill him. When we lined up to go for the 2-point conversion down 10-9. We were just trying to draw him off sides.
Yeah.
Like Charles Davis is in the booth saying, "I like this. You're about to be at halftime. You could go in with a lead 11-10. What the fuck? No, dude, you take the points. You got your ass kicked, but it felt like in the first half, tie this game up.
Yeah,
He was just trying to draw him off. I get it, because if
yeah.
you get it to the one, you tush push it. But,
You
dude,
tush
if
push,
he
yeah.
would have snapped that football, I would have lost my shit.
Yeah, no, I like the idea in hindsight when I found out that they were just trying to get him to jump because, yeah, sure. If you can get him to jump, you can get to the 1 or 1/2 yard line, right? Yeah, tush push and get the lead before half. That would be an incredible amount of positive energy going into the half, taking the lead
Yeah,
after
which is
everything that
tying
had
the game.
transpired.
Like, dude, do you
But
know
yeah,
how
no, I
demoralized
do agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I
no,
was disagreeing with the idea until I saw that they weren't going to snap it. Then
yeah.
it's not a bad idea if they do jump
Why?
the gun, going for the two. But
Yeah,
at the if you're out at the 2 or the 3 yard line, wherever they line them up on those 2 point
the
conversions,
two,
nah,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
just kick the
For
kick
doing
the
that.
extra point, like you said, tie the ball game because you're setting yourself up for negative
Correct. Like
negative
momentum,
energy going into
like
the
momentum
second
is
half.
sky high right now. Like it's just,
Yeah,
I
you
know
got
it's
the
a 1 point
touchdown.
difference, but it still
Yeah,
matters. And dude, if you're a Bengals fan heading into halftime at 10-10, or if you're in that locker room, you are demoralized at that point. Like again, like that first quarter, and really, going into the 5 minute mark of the second quarter, they were beating we couldn't get off the field. They were moving the ball, sustaining drives. They had 10 points. They missed a field goal, which kind of is when everything changed back in our direction. But if you were the Bengals, like you had full control of this game and you went into halftime tied at 10. I mean, that's it. Like that's when I just
yeah,
had a feeling about this game. I
yeah.
was not expecting the Eagles to go and score 27 and dominate and force like 3 turnovers in the second half. But they
It came out like a machine in the
it
second
was
half,
it
man.
was a fucking complete game, man. All three phases were very, 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 very good. And you just look around at the league and a lot of the unknown. I think to your point, like, should we have ever been out? And I think it's my fault. It's my fault for how I felt about this team, and because you allow we want to say we're turning the page this offseason. We're not going to allow the negatives of last year to creep in. And then some things, are going bad and the last 8 weeks start to creep back in, right?
Yeah,
So it's like, should we have ever been out? I mean, Scotty, I'm just looking around the league, man. Like you and I just did Turf Talk on Thursday, and them losing this game does not like alter my opinion of the Ravens. But the Baltimore Ravens are looked at as like the best team in the National Football League, right? Or they were playing the best ball in the National Football League. They're 5-3 and just lost to the Cleveland Browns and Jameis Winston. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like if we've been out as Philly fans, like I don't get like
yeah.
some of the I just don't get some of it
And
unless you're talking about the Chiefs who just continue to win and they're the back-to-back Super Bowl champions and have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Unless you're talking about them, man, it's wide open. The Lions, yes, I think the Lions are right there. They are unbelievable. But yeah, I look around the league. I look at this 5-2 record. You're a play call or a drop away from being 6-1, and you've been depleted by injuries. You still are. You're missing 2 offensive linemen and your tight end. Like
yeah,
you're still beat up.
yeah, you're starting left tackle, one of the most important positions on the team, man. It is funny. It is funny to see where they are at now, and yeah, I think just putting everything into perspective. But I did want to ask you a specific question about these defensive studs, man. Who's gonna be the better player, Cooper DeJean or Q?
It's crazy. I mean, obviously, we want both of them to be fucking future Pro Bowlers and Hall of Famers and et cetera.
They're two very different types of players,
Yeah,
in my
I
opinion.
think Quinyon, just because if he's primarily on the outside and Cooper's more of a slot, I don't know, there's just more opportunity with being one-on-one with star wide receivers and having the ability to quote unquote lock them down and
I don't
everything.
know, man. You play the Lions and the 49ers
Yeah,
in
no, no,
conference. You play
I
the
think
Cowboys,
I think
CeeDee
matchup
Lamb,
will
Debo,
determine some things.
Amon
Yeah,
Ra.
yeah,
In the NFC, slot might be the most important part of the defense in that case. Even you go to the Rams, those type of receivers. I'm
yep,
not I'm not arguing for Cooper over Q. I really don't know who's going to be the better one. I think Q to me is going to be the more steady,
solid. Yeah,
consistent
yeah, yeah, yeah,
lockdown every
yeah.
single week. Where Cooper, he's just gonna have these flash plays where it's like, man, is this guy the best player on the field? Like, I think he's gonna turn into one of those big play guys. He's learning behind guys like CGJ,
and
who's able to make
both
plays.
dropped one, dude. We called for both of them, and they
both of them dropped one
on Sunday.
So whoever starts catching them first is the better one. But no, they're both very good. I do think Hugh is just that level-headed, steady, just that consistent. He's your CB1, and then Cooper DeJean is just that Swiss Army knife.
And you know what's funny? Like, I know we're talking about them right now, and I know they're getting a lot of attention on social media as well. So it's not like they're really flying under the radar, but like it's almost like we're taking it for granted because we have fucking longed and craved the days for a lockdown corner or a stud, and Howie never goes out and drafts them. And I was at Chickies and Pete's when they fucking traded up on the big screen with Washington in the second round. We already had Q from night one, and then they go get Cooper, just getting off track of what Howie tends to do. We love it. We got a long off season, still Cooper gets hurt, etc. It's awesome, dude, to have just two studs on the back end of your defense.
In the secondary specifically. And to your point, just about going kind of under the radar, man, the Kobe Dean and Nolan Smith, they showed up to the party, the NFL party. They're here. They're NFL.
I agree. And look, I know what you're saying because we're talking about like the draft picks and finally getting there. But a guy like Zach Bond has just been steady as fuck too, dude. Like that's what CGJ and Isaiah Rodgers get the tip play. Jalen Carter, it wasn't a ton yesterday, but he destroyed that left guard. When the ball that Barrow threw off of Nolan Smith's face mask.
I remember that exactly.
If you're Nolan Smith, bro, and you're like, and you pick your head up on a pass rush and you just get hit right with the fucking ball, like you got to be like, Jesus, what just happened?
You got to be blown.
Yeah, like Jalen Carter wrecking plays still. So there's pieces all around this defense. I know we're in the now. I know we want to win now, but over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you have your staples that could be here and you can build around to contend with. So.
Bryce Huff got in the box sheet, man. Everybody contributing. You got to love it. I did want to throw some love. I know we want to get to the Sixers here as well, man. I wanted to throw some love to Fred Johnson. I was going to try to find the comments. They're a little bit further up. I'm not going to dig through them like that. But Fred Johnson, brother, like we talked about Trey Hendrickson coming into that game, 7 sacks on the year. I did not see the brother at all yesterday. Trey Hendrickson did not exist yesterday. That's a credit. I'm sure I saw him on the right side with Lane Johnson as well, but it's a credit to Fred Johnson for not sticking out like a sore thumb once again against some of the one of the better pass rushers in the NFL, and Trey Hendrickson for my money. And this is funny, man, because I mentioned Hendrickson as like a guy maybe the Eagles could trade for. But how bad do you even want him if Fred Johnson could lock him up? Is it just more great on Fred Johnson, right? Like, how good
I think
he looks so far.
Here's the thing. You also have to remember we're a part of Stoutland University, and I think Kellen Moore did a very good job of playing away from Trey Hendrickson and not allowing him to affect the game. So I do get what you're saying. Like, man, you can't beat Fred Johnson. Like, what? I'll love Trey Hendrickson.
There's ways to get around.
I did see also,
you don't have anybody else on the other side.
I know we're still in celebration mode of the win yesterday. But I saw a tweet this morning and rumors that the Eagles and Howie are very active in the pass rushing market heading into the trade deadline. I saw that the dude from New England, Uche, he got traded to the Chiefs. Yeah, the rich just continue to get
Why
richer.
Are AFC teams
I don't know.
The Chiefs?
I don't know.
The Titans and the Patriots. So I know they're bottom tier teams, they're tanking teams, but like, why are you helping an interconference? I guess to hurt maybe the other people in your own division, I guess. I don't know. I don't get it, but they get another good piece added to their already number one-esque defense, right? So the rich get richer there. But what were you gonna ask? I'm sorry, I interrupted you. That's my bad.
No, you're good. I was just trying to see when the deadline is. It's November 5th, so we're 8 days away from from getting there. Oh, then the NFL trade deadline and election day are on the same day.
That is true. Yeah, November.
Twitter's going to be a range of fucking emotions for people.
That is hilarious, man.
But
who are
nonetheless,
you looking at though? Who you think, or like what position group? I guess is a better question.
I think we talked about this. I mean, I think like we posed this question, and because again, it feels like when they were underperforming, you could say, well, this team definitely needs help. But when you go down the list and you go, all right, well, who's really going to step in and play over someone at this position and this position? And you really don't have areas, right? Like, let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Quarterback, no. Running back, no. Offensive line, unless Smilata was like out for the year and you didn't trust Fred Johnson, then no. Wide receiver, like what? Wide receiver? We already traded for one of those. It's still not working, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you need, like, people had mentioned like a pass catching tight end with Goddard's injuries. I think Calcaterra can just get the job. Like, again, it's the same thing with wide receiver 3, man. They don't even use Dallas Goddard enough. You think they're going to use whoever they trade for enough and be valuable down the stretch? Let's get to the defense. Secondary. No, I mean, where? I mean, unless you're finding a replacement for Reed Blankenship with a star safety, I don't think that's happening. So no. Corner, no. Linebacker. There's no real linebackers out there that are game-changing, and we've been fine.
And I know
so now we get to the pass rush. That's where we're at again.
James Bradbury is coming back to the secondary too.
Yay.
Yeah.
More depth, I guess. But no, yeah, so you're in the trenches on the defensive side of the ball. And look, I think in previous years when we've been brutal against the run, we had to go out and get a Linval Joseph. We had to go get a Ndamukong that could really help the interior of this defensive line. Look, they've been gashed at times. Josh, there's been teams that exploited the Eagles on the ground. They're not awful against the run this year. So what are we looking at? Pass rush, brother. That's what you're trying to go get, and you're trying. And we've missed. If we're being honest, we've whiffed the last like 3 trade deadlines in the pass rush position. So
because the thing with the defense right now is like yesterday on that fourth down stop by Cooper DeJean, the play before that on the third down, it was BG that came up with a big stop on that third down play, and it's great. Like BG is having a really good season for where he's at in his career. But do you want to get to December and be relying on BG for big plays? Do you want to get to December and rely on Josh Sweat for big plays? It's great when they have them,
right?
But it's not consistent.
Do I think or know that Nolan Smith is ready to be a game changer in January? Like, no. So
he's great in rotation. He's a great option to have.
It's the fucking dream, but I just don't think
it's the dream. What does it cost you though? Like what are you willing to give up?
Mm-hmm.
And then times it by probably 2, right? Like, because it doesn't seem like the Raiders want to trade him. And I'm sure if they do, there's going to be a ton of suitors for him. Everybody wants a prolific top 5 pass rusher, and that's what Max Crosby is for my money. So I think he's going to be highly coveted. The 3 names I'm seeing here are Zadarius Smith from the Browns, who has a ton of experience from the Vikings, Packers, Browns, Ravens. He's played on some really good defenses. Chase Young from New Orleans. He just signed there this offseason. We're familiar with him. And then Emmanuel Ogbah from the Miami Dolphins, which for me, I think that might be
like Ogbah the best.
My favorite,
Darius Smith is like the biggest like former name. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what Darius Smith is doing this season. I don't know what his numbers look like.
Same.
He's I think he's a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to call him old if he's not old, but Zadarius Smith.
I think he is old though.
He's 32. So here we go. Yeah, we're calling people old that are 32.
I know. August 30.
I mean, Darius Smith has 5 sacks this year, brother.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. And Ogbah has 2, so he's definitely better than him. Who's the other guy that I said? Chase Young.
Chase Young, yeah.
What's he looking like this year? I've seen his face a lot. 2 sacks, so they're all on the board at least. But I don't know. Is that better? It's hard to say whether that's better than what you have. I think at the end of the day, we're not. Unless you are going out and getting a Max Crosby, you're not getting someone that's going to like blow the rest of the guys at that position out of the water. But once again, just adding like another option, right? Like put into the rotation of Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, BG, Nolan Smith. Just adding a +1 to that would be good.
Absolutely. To Marshall's point, I don't think Bryce Huff is going anywhere. I think they're going to try to continue. He's still young,
Feels
right?
like
I
he's
think that was
getting
part
better.
of the whole signing was that they're hoping he's hitting his peak now. And
Right.
again, yeah, so we'll continue to see, man. Maybe it'll continue to develop, excuse me.
He's got 1.5
season goes on.
sacks. Chase Young has 2. Agba has 2.
Right. So
You
we're
know,
seeing,
like,
right.
yeah.
I agree. Zadarius Smith, I mean, it caught my eye, man. I did not
Yeah.
think he had 5 sacks already this year. He had 5.5 with the Browns in an entire season last year, and he had 10 with Minnesota in 2022. So veteran presence and can clearly still get after the quarterback at a high clip. If it's possible, yeah, man. And I think it's a good point, right? Because you look at the Browns, oh, are they going to have a fire sale? Well, Myles Garrett's the pipe dream. Myles Garrett, the same with Max Crosby, I don't believe are going anywhere.
Yeah.
Zadarius Smith might. So might be a reasonable
Yeah. He's 32,
opportunity.
so 32, you should be able to get him for cheap, man. Damn, Trinidad, you must be still drunk from all those Yankees L's. No,
Miss,
they got a W yesterday.
oh yeah, miss that,
brother.
Miss that, brother. Let's
He's
talk
drunk
about
off all that Jose Cuervo.
Yeah. Well, like I said, man.
I mean, you're experiencing it.
Yeah.
That's coming, brother. You're gonna feel it.
Here's the thing. I think you've been in the situation because
then you're gonna lose Soto too.
Yeah,
that's gonna hurt more.
Yeah,
you're gonna have lost the World Series and lose one of your best players. If
right, and here's the issue with Trinidad's theory is again I keep forgetting that he throws in the New England Patriots, the Boston team, as one of the teams. So you have that little dynasty that he just became a fan of. You have an Alabama football team that he also is a fan of. Funny how I know a lot of those different kinds of people. Normally they're Cowboys fans as well, but he's not. Here's the thing. Only really one of your franchises is a winning franchise. That's the Yankees, the team that's losing right now.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it. You're a Knicks fan, Islanders fan. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair too. Nick Foles did
True.
Put a little stain on the dynasty. little minor stain on the Patriots dynasty. But no, man. Let's talk about the Sixers, dude, because that was a game yesterday. Maybe a little bit under the radar with the Eagles playing who they were playing in the middle of the day yesterday. So wasn't a ton of attention on this game, especially given the Sixers' first 2 results of the season. But huge comeback win in OT.
No, it was absolutely huge, man. First of all, and we're going to talk about Tyrese Maxey, but it was so incredibly important for him to get going. Especially, we want Joel and PG to hopefully play and return on Wednesday, but it just it would have felt, I don't know, because you're going to have a timeline without both of them this year. They're going to miss games, and if the Sixers would have started 0-3 and Tyrese Maxey struggles continued in the second half. Yeah, Joel and PG are coming back, but you're going to be without them. There's going to be that lingering thought, like, can Maxey do this? And boy, did he do it!
And the pressure mounts up on Embiid and PG,
right?
As well,
because,
right?
Because now, does our timetable get switched around? Because apparently, I can't miss all this time or some of this time, like they were hoping or expecting to, for this load management plan for theirs, man. But this was such a huge win because Friday was such a bad loss. And if you would have started 0-3 with that stain of losing to the Raptors in the fashion that you did, man, like I was so infuriated with them, man, because I get it. You don't have your 2 best players. You don't have Joel Embiid and Paul George. It's hard to win. But the Raptors never have Paul George or Joel Embiid. And not only that, not only are they already a bad team and not a playoff team in the Eastern Conference, they were missing 4 of their top 5 players, 4 of their top 6 players.
It wasn't like Scotty Barnes was going
off.
No, like he had 40. Like he didn't.
You lost the effort battle, brother. You got out rebounded. You got beat up in transition, especially in the first half. The officiating to start the year has been crazy. I mean, that was record breaking on Friday night. I think the Sixers shot 56 free throws and the Raptors shot like 49. Like it was an awful game to continue to watch. But nonetheless, it was such a bad loss. We really were expecting to be 0-3. I mean, for God's sake, the Sixers were 9-point underdogs, 8.5-point dogs in Indiana yesterday.
That was
So
the
we're
biggest
expecting to
spread
come
that
back
they've had so
0-3.
far this season.
Yeah, and have to climb back and, win 3 straight just to get to 500. Well, now that's gone, and it happened on the back of Tyrese Maxey, and a lot of other things went into this game, man. But it starts there, right? Like, just like we talked about it starting and ending with Jalen Hurts with the Eagles, it starts with Tyrese Maxey yesterday. I believe he started 2 for 11 in this game. And it was being pointed out on social media, Scotty, that it's not just his offensive woes, the efficiency, the lack of shooting, the 3-point shooting, man. His defense was like worse the first half yesterday than at any point you had seen it in his young career. Like, because that's been one of the things, right? Maxey can't guard anybody. It was bad, dude. He was sending help. Like, he was going to double in spots he shouldn't double and like putting everybody else in bad positions to have to play catch up. Like, it's not what he was supposed to be doing. He was never in the right spot. And they punt early on. And it's funny, man, because I'm sitting here and I'm watching the game with my sister, and she's a big Sixers fan, and she's literally she's like, stop shooting threes to Maxey because he just kept chucking from deep. And she's like, just see one go in. Well, dude, I think he went on a stretch where he got to the rack like 2 or 3 times in a row. Layup over contact, floater, mid-range, etc. And then it started to translate back out to the 3-point line. And the emotion you saw from Tyrese Maxey after he went on a spurt of his own yesterday is exactly what this team needed. The rest of the guys fed off of him, man. He finished 14 of 32, 45, 10 points in 5 minutes in overtime, had clutch free throws, had a clutch 3. He was everything you could have asked for, especially the way, man, that he was able to bounce back from adversity mid-game. Like, this wasn't like, oh, we finished out this game, Maxey's been bad, and to start on Wednesday, he goes nuclear right from the beginning. Like, he continued his struggles for half of this game and then fought his way out of it, bro. It was an awesome showing from Maxey, and it was an awesome showing from this team as a fucking whole because, dude, they needed it. 3 out of 82. I know there's a long way to go, but they needed this win. I needed this win. I needed a Sixers W, and it diminishes how bad Friday was. Because if you told me, they lose to the Bucks, we do Friday morning show. If you said they split the road trip, they come home 1-2, we would have assumed what? They beat the Raptors, they lose to the Pacers. Okay, is anyone really going to have too much of a problem with that, with missing Joel and PG? Probably not. It sucks, but sure.
Yeah.
Well, they just did the opposite. So take that for what you will. It was a huge win, man. It was such an exciting cap to the Eagles game yesterday.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. And you talked a lot about Maxey, and I talk a lot about Maxey all the time, of course. And I was struggling, watching him go through this stretch because it's not the worst that I've ever seen him because obviously as a rookie he wasn't, even touching 20, 25 points. So it's not like that. It's just that it was the most forced that I've ever seen him over those first 2 games, just forcing things, whether it's shots, passes, playing certain way. It just felt like he was off rhythm, helter skelter, if that fits the mold there. He just seemed out of sorts, and you kind of saw him come into his own yesterday. And what I loved, I want to pull up TR's comment here. Yeah, because he's looking so much more animated now. He's been animated all season. I feel like, though, he's been more of a leader, more outspoken. He's yelling at teammates, right? He's trying to get guys aligned. Was it just a balance of that along with him just getting his rhythm, right? Because when you are focusing on being a leader, when you're focusing on where other guys should be, when you're focusing on, what this guy should do when he gets the ball, doesn't that kind of impact your mental state going into your own game? So
for sure,
I do just wonder if it was too much on his shoulders too fast, right, at the beginning of the season, and maybe on Sunday against the Pacers, in a more up-tempo type, higher paced game,
Yeah.
maybe he was able to find himself and find that good balance between outspoken, fired up, ready to lead my team, but then also calm enough in the zone, in a good enough rhythm to go out and perform the way we're used to him performing. But man, I'm just looking at the box score for this, Dylan, yesterday, and
It was a
two
group
things
effort. As
that
much as Maxey
two
led
things
led the way, it was a group effort, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously Caleb Martin, 17 and 12 yesterday.
Yep.
People calling him the Josh Hart of the Sixers, whatever. I think he can be better than Josh Hart ultimately. He's a better scorer. But nonetheless, that was for Jay Trinidad, by the way. Nonetheless, the two things that stuck out to me from this box score, man, it's not necessarily the makes because they were 11 for 42 from the three-point line. So it's not the makes, it's not the percentages. It's the 42 attempts and then the 54 rebounds. And then you go to Indiana, 32 three-point attempts, 37 rebounds. So you shot more three-pointers and you got more rebounds. Rebounds turn into more three-pointers, obviously, if you're getting offensive boards. But you want the percentages of the three-point shots to go
20,
up.
Scotty. 20
Yeah.
offensive rebounds.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And they did it against
so
Milwaukee as
difference.
well. They did it against Milwaukee as well.
Yeah.
I know they lost the game, but these role players that are going to be role players when the Stars return.
Yeah.
If you continue to play with energy and hustle and aggressiveness like you're showing right now, that's why I'm still excited for the Sixers, albeit a 1-2 record.
Eric Gordon he showed some
He was
signs
huge yesterday off the bench, man. And I give credit to Nurse. Look, he did it Friday. He made the switch to Lowry starting. It did, they lose the game. It didn't go so well, but he stuck with it yesterday. Lowry only plays 17 minutes where Gordon plays 32, and it's because of the way Eric Gordon was shooting the ball and getting to the rack, man. It was a big-time performance immediately from him. KJ Martin just solid defensively. 3 for 3 from the floor, has a little, I don't know what that relationship with him and Maxey is, but it seems to work. McCain, somehow a -16 in the plus minus. But I had tweeted out, man, he looked good. I don't know. I would have to go back. I guess maybe the Pacers went on one of their like 8-0, 9-0 runs during that stretch, but he looked fine out there. To TR's point, he doesn't look lost. He looks like he belongs. He got to the rim. 2 for 5 in a quick stint. I thought he was fine. And I love him at 17 minutes. The fact that Nick Nurse gave him that leadway yesterday on the road against the Pacers, I love that early on. Yabusele, 17 minutes, no points. I get it. +3. 17 minutes, didn't score, didn't affect the outcome for his own team on the offensive end.
4 assists.
+3. 5 offensive rebounds. 5 offensive rebounds of those 20 were Yabusele's. He's everything you want. When we signed him that low risk, high reward, $1.2 million contract from Real Madrid, Scotty, this is what you were envisioning. The hustle, the toughness that the overseas player brings from that league. And that's what you're getting so far, man. Drummond, dude, 9 points, 17 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds. And he had 2 steals. And they both came. Dude, I don't know if you saw the clip or not. He strips Tyrese Halliburton. I can't remember if it was the end of regulation or the end of overtime when he does it. But Halliburton goes to raise up, and Drummond just swipes down and says, "Give me that." And so just the hustle, man. The hustle, the extra, the little things they're doing well. I'm loving from the others in an expanded role because I trust and believe that they will be able to do it on even a higher level when the Stars come back. Because you had asked me the other day, do the shooting numbers worry you? And 26.2% again, man, they did not shoot the ball well as a team. First of all, Max is going to shoot way better.
5 for 17.
And Paul George is going to sway those numbers. And so, and the spacing and the gravity and the freedom that they're going to have with open looks when Joel's on the floor with these guys, they're going to shoot the ball better. Okay. So that is one thing. The only thing I'll say through 3 games, they need to shoot better from the free throw line. I don't know that they've shot over 74% as a team in 3 games, dude. I mean, they're missing 9, 10, 15 free throws a game. So that needs to be better because they were one of the best free throw shooting teams last year.
I do feel you, and I think it does. I don't know if it correlates with the 3-point statistics yet. Obviously, Maxey he's kind of an outlier in this situation with 17 attempts, 5 for 17. That's like half of your 42 basically there. But the free throws, what I was gonna say, how many of these guys are pure shooters? You know what I mean? Like pure. Yeah. Like Caleb Martin can hit a three.
Yeah, he's not
pure. Kelly Oubre is not pure.
Eric Gordon.
Kyle Lowry, for my money, even is not pure.
No.
Eric Gordon is pure, I think.
Yeah. I think and I think Jared McCain, McCain will have a role around Embiid, man. I really do. I think he's the guy that can shoot.
Embiid's pure. Paul George is pure. You need those two guys back. McCain, I do agree, man. I think it's like the little things. It's really the little things with him. His ability, it's because he's younger. He's just going to be able to get on the floor and grab loose balls, different things like that, a little bit faster than some of the other older guys on the team. Floor spacing, once he can get comfortable, I think it'll come, honestly, when Embiid is on the court because he's going to have just so much more space by playing alongside Embiid. But I do agree with you. I think Jared McCain's got a role with this team, even with Eric Gordon, with Kyle Lowry. I think he has a role with this team. Where's my man Persero at here? Because I saw it. Yeah,
all the comments.
Dylan did say Real Madrid, but it is Real Madrid. It was the Real Madrid basketball club. I was wondering if he was like trolling you, because there's a soccer club, but there's also the basketball club. They have a Real Madrid like every sport, I guess. But I thought that was funny. But yeah, Yabusele, man, he just, like you said, maybe not showing up in the scoring sheet, right, from a scoring standpoint, but 4 assists for a guy that was out of the NBA, like the ability to see the court, and play with your teammates, build chemistry. I think that's huge, man, along with the rebound.
He's being forced to play out of position right now. Because when Joel comes back, who's the backup 5? Drummond. Well, you're not going to 2 backup 5s. You're not going to – Joel goes out, Drummond comes in, Drummond comes out, Yabusele comes in, then Joel – it's not a carousel. Yabusele is going to play backup 4 minutes when Joel is healthy in the game. Joel and Drummond are both playing. So he's playing out of position. They're undersized. And I think that's something that's getting lost too, man. They are out rebounding the Bucks and the Pacers. And the offensive glass, they've been really good. And because of the Joel injury, you're missing a 7-footer. The depth goes away. Paul George is 6'8", right? He's going to help in that category as well. He's going to average 5 to 6 boards a game. You're undersized, and you're still doing the little things and winning rebounding battles. Think about when those two are on the basketball floor and the depth is fully there. Now Yabusele is playing next to Joel Embiid, and that hustle is next to a 7'1" center. Right now, Paul George is on the floor with Andre Drummond and Caleb Martin. There's just, I think it is being lost a little bit because 1 and 2, great. 0 and 2 to start, great. I think it's being lost how the little things, these little victories, are going to translate when they're fully healthy.
And I think what also gets lost is that because Paul George and Embiid are coming back, they're supposed to come back the same game, right? Tuesday against the Hornets. Because they're coming back the same game, it's as if we're going to be without both of them all the time. Maybe you do win one of those first 2 games just with Paul George on the roster instead of, giving somebody else these minutes in the game, right? Or overworking Caleb Martin and Kelly Oubre in the game. Maybe when you get just Paul George, you'll be able to win some of these other games as well. Yes. And the same thing vice versa with Embiid. You don't need both of them back all the time. You're going to be able to win both of them to win a
championship. You need both of them to win a championship and make a run in the playoffs. Absolutely. You do not need both of them to win regular season games throughout an 82-game season. To your point, the Raptors game, you have one of Paul George and Joel Embiid. I promise you're not down by 17 points in the fourth quarter. Promise that doesn't happen. So,
and then the game looks completely different. Correct. So, I do agree with you, man. It's definitely that was a huge positive. Before more positives, which is Embiid returning, Paul George returning. You get a positive before you were expecting it. And once again, I had the Sixers losing that game yesterday. I thought it was a horrible matchup just from a pace standpoint. They shoot a lot of threes, but maybe it was the opposite. Maybe they needed a team that doesn't play great,
Yeah.
outstanding defense so they could find themselves a little bit. And Pacers, it allowed them to do that yesterday, man. And once again, that is an Eastern Conference finalist from last season. Maybe they're not the same team coming into this year. Maybe they're, a little overrated
Right.
because they made it that far last year.
I
Whatever,
think that's
we'll find out this season.
I think
But
that's everything.
they were a good basketball team last year, man. Great basketball team.
I agree. I think that's everything. And you look around, man, slow starts are happening all around the league. The Pacers are 1-2.
Yeah.
The Bucks, who beat us on opening night, have lost back-to-back games. They lost to the Chicago Bulls in their second game. They're 1-2, right? So, like, teams are 1-1, they're 2-1, they're 1-2. It all doesn't make a difference. Now, but 0-3 just feels a lot different. And now the big guys have to come back and do some heavy lifting to get us back to 500. That changed because of a big time win yesterday. The Yankees are down 0-2, brother. This chat, by the way, you guys, I feel like we have like toddlers, and I love it because instead of like me having to pay attention to Trinidad's comments, it's like we have our army in the we can still continue the conversation.
I like that,
and let Martian and TR and D-Rab handle the business because
holding it down.
If you guys, there's over 45 people in the chat right now. If you are watching on Twitter, make sure to come on over to the YouTube channel so you can see what the hell is happening in the chat on each and every one of these shows. But yeah, man, it was just such a big time win for them, such a big time win for the Sixers, and
the comments moving
good
too
on
fast,
this
man. I'm trying to pull this one. This is a funny one to me, man. I just graduated from there. I'm not a Drexel fan. I'm just alumni. Got my master's from Drexel. What about you, Jay Trinidad?
Flex on him a little bit, brother.
And I saw Marshawn's questions earlier. I'm in Richmond, Virginia, man. And I'm at the Hilton. I'm not at a Motel 6.
Yeah.
I gotta put that out there. Martian putting some ink on my name, man. Like, nah, I'm not at the Motel 6. I'm at the Hilton.
We? That's a good point, man. Scotty is in Virginia for work purposes. Should we let the chat know now that we might have to be making some changes to the programming?
Yeah,
I'll let you explain. It's your schedule. It's your schedule. So we don't want to have to move from the morning show back to night times, but not night times, but late afternoon, early evening times. But because of Scotty's new work schedule and being not working from home all the time, we will
basically.
The floor is yours.
Basically, Mondays and Fridays, I'll still be working from home. So depending on what my schedule is going to be, like, for example, if I start at 9 a.m., we could maybe do the morning show from 8 to 9. Or if I start at 9:30, I could, we could do 8:30 to 9:30 on Mondays and Fridays. Wednesdays are going to be a no-go now because I'm going to be in office Tuesday through Thursday.
Right.
So
that'll
I'm not going to be able to do mornings.
Show.
So Wednesdays will at least be one evening show. And if it's, on the night of a Sixers game, maybe it's just a Sixers pregame instead that night. Or if it's a Phillies game that night, maybe it's a Phillies pregame instead that night. Same thing with the Flyers, right? Just depends. But Mondays and Fridays, I'm hopeful that we'll get to continue the morning show, depending on what schedule. If I get to pick my schedule, we're going to be golden because I'll be able to pick hours that allow us to do the morning show. But it's just a heads up. We used to do the Phaithful Phanatic in the evenings around 4:30ish, 5 p.m.ish. So we may have to gravitate back towards that. It just depends on how the job goes and what my hours are like. But definitely good to give a heads up out there. It's just so we're not ghosting you. We might just be at a different time. Definitely this week, though. We're going to be in the evenings. So Wednesday we'll be back, and then Friday I'll be actually traveling back, so we won't have a Friday show this week. So
that's another thing. That's also another thing. If we do have to move back to the evenings, specifically Fridays, maybe Friday is no longer a show and Thursday becomes a show because Friday evenings tend to start a little early and.
Fair. That's a great point. Actually, that's a great point.
Unless Dill decides to quit the booze, then
I'm not doing a Friday night show. So that is a great point. That's a great call out ahead of time. We'll see how it goes. Friday, I do believe is going to be my chillest day of work, like per week. So I don't think we'll have any problems with the morning show, but we'll We'll see. Today I'm not working, so no, I'm not like on the clock while I'm on the pod here. I'm just not working today. I really am. I'm not. I got a travel day today, so this whole day is mine to explore the beautiful city of Richmond, Virginia.
There you go, Richmond Spiders, brother. You're like
I'm right by I did see like a VCU thing. I don't think it's the actual VCU campus, but I did see like a little VCU center. So I'm close
what do we got
to
to college basketball? A week and a half or 2 weeks till college basketball starts?
I want to say the Duke. Yeah, it's sometime this week, man. Let me just double check here. Duke and Maine. No, you're right. Next week. So 11-4. Duke is taking on Maine. That's their first game of the season. But it looks like that is the kickoff of college basketball. November 4th, man. Next Monday is going to be lit.
Gambling hits another level when college basketball comes back around, because there are afternoon games. I'm trying to get to the Wednesday game for the Sixers for Tobias's and Paul Reed's return, and hopefully PG and Joel play. Not sure if I'm going. Of course, Scotty is away right now. But dude, I don't know how I don't go to this game. I'm probably going to just choose a little bit, higher pricing to sit down lower, but you can get tickets for $10 for up top for this Wednesday game against the Pistons on Ticketmaster. You can get lower level seats for like $39. Well, I mean, there's fees obviously, so it's going to be a little bit more than that, but like $40-$45 plus fees to sit first level at the Sixers game on Wednesday. So, might have to dabble.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that. I was just going to check. So, yeah, the Pistons, that's their last game of October. Got the Grizzlies. And then not again until the Hornets on 11-10. So, we'll see. We definitely need to get to a game together.
Yeah.
Definitely get Parcero involved. If Martian can get down from Canada. From Gotham City. If he can come down here and hang out with us, we can have a great time.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, love the lively chat, fellas. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Hella side combo in the comments today, man. I do love it though. We're gonna have to find a name for the army.
Yeah, we'll think of something.
Have to find a name. Something with Phaithful.
Yeah, we'll think of something.
Phaithful infantry. No.
All right. Let's get out of here. 50 of you guys in the chat now. Make sure to go subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's easy. It's fucking YouTube. It's better to watch. You get to see the chat, and it allows you to be interactive. We cannot see your comments on Twitter if you are trying to get involved through there. So make sure to subscribe. Parcero, Trinidad, Martian, TR, D-Rab. As always, Abe, we saw you again. We saw you. We appreciate you, boys. And we will be back on Wednesday talking more Sixers, more Eagles, more everything else just about as we head on into Jacksonville.
Maybe we'll have a new Eagle by then if Howie's busy.
Possibly. All right, boys. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.
Peace, everybody.